Now, you and I, a million years ago, back when this podcast was called Talk Radio Meltdown. By the way, if this is your first time hearing this show on the Solid Listen Podcast Network, in the second half of this episode, Ack and I are going to explain, we're going to give some backstory to the Ack and Jack show. I'm going to explain why, for the second episode of this podcast that we've done for the network, why we're doing it under a different name.
We just like confusing people.
We will get to all of that, but that'll be in the second half of this episode. But in 2010, early 2010, you and I went to a convention called Webcomics on Ice.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sorry, early 2011. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it really was.
Yeah.
And we interviewed a bunch of webcomic artists, but you were there for that. And you weren't always on the podcast at that time, but I brought you along because you knew all of them.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that you catch yourself yelling at celebrities. I kind of remember you speaking in an inflection that I don't normally hear out of you.
Mm-hmm.
But you were composed otherwise around them, and you did an excellent job interviewing all of them.
I appreciate that. I that's one of those shows that, like, mostly because at the time, what was interesting was we interviewed Andrew Hussey of Homestuck fame, and this was very early on into Homestuck's run, so he was still showing up at conventions. Pretty shortly after that, like probably a year at most after that, Homestuck exploded in popularity, and Hussey basically became like a Bill Watterson level hermit. Like, he went from very regularly interacting with the fandom to never showing up in public under any circumstances.
Wow.
So I, like, over the years since we did that, have had people like send me messages on Reddit saying like, hey, I found an old link saying that you did an interview with Andrew Hussey back in 2011. Can you send me that? Just like, wow. Think like that for people who are like really, really into the Homestuck craze, that was like a relic, an artifact. Like, that was actually like a unique thing that we did. We got him on a podcast to talk to us.
Damn. I didn't know that. Wow, dude. Because I'm thinking like, well, Watterson, it literally just came back.
Yeah, well, that's why he was the first name that came to mind.
After almost 30 years, Watterson's back in the doing something. But because I have pictures of that too. And yeah, I mean, all those guys were very down to earth. Yeah, I mean, it was all nerds that were there, like ourselves. So they.
Oh, interesting fact. I don't know if you'll remember this. There was a guy there going around with a keyboard playing music. He, at the time, was primarily known as one of the music team members for Homestuck. He would later go on to produce a little video game called Undertale.
What?
Toby Fox was there that day.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not.
What the fuck? I remember that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And at the time, he wasn't like an author or anything. He was just on the music team of Homestuck, so we didn't interview him or anything. But that was Toby Fox.
Oh my God. Jesus. All right, listen. Okay, for anyone if you're new to this, that was a legitimate reaction. And Undertale is one of the greatest video games ever made. And it's got one of the best video game soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
And Toby Fox did, like, not only did he do the whole game himself, he did the soundtrack by himself. Oh, my God. That is amazing. And that was before Undertale.
Oh, years and years before, like probably 5 or 6 years before Undertale. So I kicked myself because other than like, I think I acknowledged him at one point, just like, oh, hey, you're Toby Fox, right? And he was like, yeah, what's up? It's like, I would have spent way more time talking to him if I knew who Toby Fox was going to be one day.
Jesus, this is a guy that, like, you know, I talk about conventions, when conventions do those panels, this is like the guy that would, these days, be the speaker, the headline speaker at a convention that
exactly.
a giant conference room would be filled to the brim. And Webcomics on Ice, by comparison, was like in a very small space.
It was like, what, 50 people?
It was,
it was
not
hardly
a lot
anyone there.
And by what I'm playing here is it's the song Undertale from the game Undertale, which Toby Fox did entirely by himself. God, find this on Spotify. The whole soundtrack's on Spotify. God damn, dude. Oh, wow. That didn't exacerbate my migraine in the least. Jesus Christ, that is awesome. I'm like, part of me wants to be jealous of you, even though I was there.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him.
Yep.
God damn. You know what I'll do? I will dig out the Webcomics on Ice 2011 audio and interviews, and I will share them with the people, with the network, because that's big. That's really big. And just, I mean, I'm sure, like you said, I mean, Hussey took off, but there's got to be other people in there who have like a pretty significant degree of fame now that
I mean, Casey Green, I think he's still mostly just working independently, but some of his art has become like totally ubiquitous along the internet. Casey Green being one of the guys we interviewed at the time, he was doing Gun Show comic, and one of the Gun Show strips features a dog sitting in a burning room looking at a cup of coffee saying, "This is fine." And that dog is now like one of the most popular memes that you'll see absolutely everywhere. So yeah, like a lot of these people who at the time were, they were known, but like things have taken off for them in the 15 years since.
I really want to yell again because I didn't know that I fucking talked to him too.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? That guy too?
Yep.
Jesus. What? This is the kind of every fucking day Becky asks me why I'm not doing more with this show and with my life. And this is one of those existential moments I'm having right now where I'm thinking, why haven't I done more with my life and with this show? As we're talking about all these people that have since taken off.
Yeah.
And that now and you didn't back then.
Yeah.
Is it too early to start having a midlife crisis?
Yes. I think we're on schedule for a third a trimester life crisis. No, that's not right.
I mean, that makes sense if you're planning on living to 99, then sure.
Yeah.